for many of us is a friend, is a leader, an esteemed colleague, a fighter, and a fellow Ram. Mary, we want to celebrate you, and we know that you've dedicated 45 years of service to Colorado State University. 45 years that's been spent fighting for social justice, for equity, for diversity and inclusion within our CSU community. We recognize that, and we're celebrating you today for that. And Mary, to be honest, we know there's little that we can do to repay you for the contributions that you've given to us, but we hope that this ceremony can capture a fraction of that love and that gratitude that we have for you. I want to mention some of the folks that we're honored to have today. Many administrators, SDPS directors, students, faculty, and community members. To name a few, we have CSU President Joyce McConnell, Fort Collins Mayor Wade Troxel, Provost Mary Pedersen, Vice President for Student Affairs Blanche Hughes. And unfortunately, I'm not able to introduce all of you just due to time constraints, but it would be wonderful if you could drop your name and maybe tell us where you're calling in from. That would be wonderful. Today's ceremony will briefly start, like I mentioned, with an introduction from Mary Ontiveros, and then we'll hear from Mary herself, and then a video statement from Tony Frank. Then we'll open the floor for all of you to express gratitude if you have any specific comments for her, any of the folks who have worked with her for many years. And I'll be keeping a speaking list on my end, so feel free to share some words if you'd like, and message me directly if you want to be added to that speaking list. As for senators and associates and just general attendees, if you have any specific questions for Mary about her time either in CSU or ASCSU, please feel free to message me as well with those questions, and we'll ask Mary periodically. We'll alternate between comments and questions. So does that sound good with everyone?
Okay.
Awesome. For those of you who can hear, Mary is on my speakerphone here. We're having some technical difficulties. Mary, if you do want to turn on your camera, I'm not sure if that's showing up, but if you all go to where Mary's camera should be, I think if she's on the call or when she does join, you'd be able to pin that video so you can watch her while she's speaking through my phone here. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in. For those of you that don't know, Mary Ontiveros is a proud alum who began her journey here at CSU in 1969, receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, while also serving as an ASCSU senator and then later ASCSU vice president. And as many of you know, Ontiveros has played a pivotal role in supporting the student diversity and programs and services offices, the SDPS offices, and is celebrated for her role in also building the CSU principles of community with stakeholders from all across campus. She made that happen. She was tasked with that challenge. And in her time, Mary has served in a variety of roles, some of which include Executive Director of Admissions, Affiliate Faculty Member in the School of Education, Director of El Centro, Associate Vice President in the Division of Enrollment and Access. And since 2010, Ontiveros has served as the Vice President for Diversity, which is a position that was that she was handpicked for by former President and now Chancellor Tony Frank. Mary has served as a chair for the university's consultation team for incidents of bias, the President's Commission on Diversity and Inclusion, the Inclusive Physical and Virtual Campus Committee, and she is a co-founder of the Colorado chapter of the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Ed. She's received the 2017 Latinas First Foundations Award for her extraordinary contributions. So with that, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Mary Ontiveros, Vice President Mary Ontiveros. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to share. And I want to thank you personally for the beautiful flowers. I don't know if everybody knows, but flowers were delivered today, as was a framed resolution. And so thank you so much for all of that. That was just totally unexpected. And when I heard the doorbell ring, usually it's a box that my husband has ordered from Amazon. And so I was surprised that I even went to the door. So it was really great to go to the door, and it was for me. So that was really exciting. Yeah, it's been a long time since I have been at Colorado State University, 45 plus years working. And then if you count my student years, it's close to 51 years at the institution. And I remember my freshman year, however, as though it was yesterday. I remember arriving on campus, and things have definitely changed. The very first person who came to my door, knocked on the door of my room, and her first question was, "Are you a Mexican?" And I thought, okay then. So here it begins. And as it turns out, she did not know what Chicanos were. And so it began a really great relationship of working with students and talking to other students about what it means to be Latino in the state of Colorado. And so that began, I guess, my journey into educating people about what it means to be an individual of color at Colorado State University. I also remember football games, insofar as I was not able to attend football games. I didn't have resources to do that. I remember I had 30 cents in my pocket, and people would ask if I wanted to go to the game. And I thought, okay, if I go to the game, I'm going to need money for a soda. I'm going to need money for popcorn because I love popcorn. And 30 cents was not going to do it. So I would always decline. And one day I decided, well, I'm going to at least go to the game and hang around the stadium. And I walked around campus searching for the stadium. And I could not find the CSU football stadium anywhere. I thought, surely I should be able to hear the sound of the crowd, and I did not hear the sound of the crowd. So I was too embarrassed as a first-generation student to ask anybody where the football stadium was, because certainly I should know that, right? And so I never did. And it was not until my sophomore year when my now husband asked if I wanted to go to a football game, and before I could even answer, he said, "We'll drive." And I thought, drive? So that means it's far away. And that's when I realized that the football stadium was not within walking distance. I also remember Old Main. And so it was a tumultuous freshman year, but it was certainly a memorable one. And it reminds me in some ways of this year, insofar as it has been pretty tumultuous. But I need to thank ASCSU because I met my husband through ASCSU. Back then, we had campaigns and we had political parties and political conventions. He was a member of the Student Congress Party, and I knew by reading the Collegian that those were the principles that I was going to support. So I went to an activity, and he was there, and I was so impressed because they were going to be, this is when you could have beer in the residence halls, 3-2 beer, and he did not want to tap the keg because it was Coors, and they were doing a boycott on Coors because of treatment of Latinos. And I was so impressed that he asked me, is it okay if we tap the keg? And later on, after we were married, I told him that really endeared me to him. And he said, well, actually, I was hoping for your vote. But we got married anyway. And so I met my husband through ASCSU. It was mentioned that I was a senator, and actually I wasn't. I was the secretary to the Senate, clerk to the Supreme Court, and then I became vice president for student affairs because we had a structure similar to the administration. And we introduced programs like the testing center, and then I was supervisor of the attorney for what is now the Student Legal Services Office. We had renters' rights, which became the off-campus housing office. And then I created a fund for students who were not affiliated with any kind of an organization so that they could ask for money through ASCSU as an independent student. And some students asked for money for artwork for the student center. Some people asked for money to landscape outside of Clark Building. I don't remember the other proposals, but we were able to fund individual students. And then I ran for student body president as an independent person, and I lost. And so I went on to graduate school. There's no question that the campus has changed. The physical plant has certainly changed. There are lots of trees now, lots of beautiful buildings, amenities available to students, options available to students. But bottom line, it's the people who have made all the difference in the world. And I credit really the foundation of what I learned about Colorado State University. I credit ASCSU for giving me the skills to take me into my professional career. So I have a lot that I owe to ASCSU, and I tell people all the time that it really is an important experience, and I hope that all of you who are involved with ASCSU are finding it to be so as well. So again, thank you so much for this tribute. I sincerely appreciate it.
Can we give Mary just a round of applause, virtual claps? Yeah. Mary, we are so honored to be able to, just to know you and to have walked life with you. I know for many of your colleagues here, I'm sure to echo what they would feel too. At this point, I'd love to turn it to the audience, to any folks who want to share, anyone who has a memory of Mary or who has a special experience that they want to share, or just words of gratitude. So hopefully, Mary, hopefully you can hear us all right on that end.
I can hear you for sure.
Okay, awesome. And I'll change my speaker here so that it's output, so that you can hear anyone who's wanting to talk to you.
Okay.
So if you'd like to speak, feel free to unmute yourselves and jump in. And if you have a specific question, if students or associate senators, feel free to message me directly, and then we can build that into the speaking list.
If it's okay,
Yeah, I think, Pam, you might be cutting out just a bit there. Can you all hear Pam, or is she cutting out on your end as well? Yep.
I think she's cutting out.
Yeah. Let's see. Hopefully that'll adjust. There we go, Pam. Is that fixed? I saw you turn
well,
off.
I can stay muted video wise. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, I'll be quick because this will likely go out again. But I'm so proud of ASCSU and so grateful for you recognizing Mary. And Mary, you know how I feel about you. I've told you a million times. We've known each other for more than a decade, which is small in how long you've been at CSU, but it's been a powerful 10 years for me to know you, to have worked with you, to have learned from you. I think you're an incredible leader, with one of the best leaders I've ever seen, with integrity, ethics, transparency, and mentoring others. And I'm so proud to have worked with you and known you and call you a friend. Thank you.
Oh gosh, thank you, Pam.
Hi, Mary. This is Wade Troxel, and I'm so honored to be here with you. We go back many years, and we've known each other in so many ways over those years. It's an honor for me to be here, and we'll be doing a Mary Ontiveros Day in the city of Fort Collins as well, and look forward to doing that. But Mary, you've meant so much to Colorado State University, clearly to ASCSU, but also to the city of Fort Collins. You've been a community builder. You built the principles of community. You've been a good friend. When you were concerned, we would get together and we would have conversation, and you've always been future solutions oriented, and it's through your hope that I gain inspiration. So Mary, thank you so much for all that you've done for all of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade, so much. What many people don't know is that I worked with Wade's father when I first started admissions. You know, Wade's father was, if I recall, the faculty council representative to athletics, and so I worked with him, and then later learned that he had a son, and it was Wade Troxel. So, yeah, as I keep telling people, retirement seems appropriate. I'm no spring chicken when I can think of Wade Troxel's dad.
Thank you, Mary.
Sure, thank you.
I hope I can do this without crying. Mary has meant so much to me professionally, but probably even more personally. She's been such a person I've always gone to for advice. And one of the things I remember most is when my daughter was born 5 weeks early, an amazing advice she gave me as a mom of a preterm baby, because she had gone through the same thing. And I was working for her at the time, and she really understood how that impacts my ability to come back to work. And she also told me, it's not just going to impact your ability to come back to work. You're never going to be the same person ever again. Once you're a mom, you're not the same person. But Mary, you're one of the most important people in my life, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
That's you that make me cry. So thank you. And I remember Miles crawling under the chair in our office. So it's hard to believe that she's in college now.
Mary, I want to turn it to Senator Nottingham. Senator Eric Nottingham, it looks like, has a question for you, or possibly a comment.
Sure.
So yes, mine is a comment. I just wanted to say that while I have not had the honor of working with you directly, I think that I speak for myself and many of the other members, although they can speak for themselves as well, in saying thank you, because regardless of whether I've worked with you directly, the work that you've done on inclusion, on justice, and making CSU a better campus and university is built the groundwork that we are able to operate on and right now. And the fact that we are trying to make it even more so, even better, and keep working and continuing that legacy, I just wanted to honor you and say thank you, because every single member in this body owes you a debt of gratitude for the work you've done. So thank you very much.
That means so much to me. It means so very, very much. You know, people had asked me at one point when I became VP for diversity how I would know whether I had been successful. And I said, it will really depend on all of you, not just what I have done, but what everybody else does. And so to hear you talk about the fact that it has had is so very important. Thank you.
So I'm going to take a few minutes and say some words to Mary. I think you have to quiz her a little bit on what happened after that fateful day that she took her first ride out with somebody out to the CSU football field out at Hughes Stadium. The most memorable time I have with Mary is seeing her out there tailgating and her telling me about this big trailer that she brings out and how it becomes a full day event for she and her family and friends. And so that was probably the beginning of many, many years of Mary being a true supporter of our CSU Rams. And that is something, Mary, I will always, when I go to a CSU football game, will think about you, because that was so impactful to me to see somebody who I wouldn't have thought would have had an interest in football, and she's there every single weekend that the Rammies are playing. And so thank you for that, Mary, and it's going to be a wonderful memory to have and carry with me.
Oh gosh, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, and it has always been so much fun. You know, those tailgates were always so much fun. And being out at Hughes Stadium, that's where my son learned to drive, where all my nephews and nieces learned to drive after football games. And being able to be there and meet people was just great. It was just great. So yeah, finally, once I learned where Hughes Stadium was, it made a difference in our lives. Absolutely.
Mary, I just want to thank you for being a leader that I've looked up to for the past 20 years, starting as an undergrad student to admissions counselor. I still remember sitting in Spruce Hall, like back in the day. And like you just sharing context of like the admissions process. And we were really focused for the holistic review, which is like the norm now, but at the time we had the index, which we can't speak of anymore, you know? And so, and just like saying how important it was to look as a student as a whole person, and that they're more than just like their academic achievements, and how like learning that lesson so early on in my career has stuck with me today. And then Mary and I were just joking. Another memory I had of her was she always had water with her at every single meeting. And this was before like Nalgene's were like the norm. And so she has to be the most hydrated person on campus as well.
Yep, I always had a big old cup of water, and I still do. I have a big old mug right here.
Mary, I
So
want to.
Mary,
Oh, go ahead, Blanche.
I should be mad. I'm a little mad at you, right? I just got to put that out there. Mainly because when we're in the many meetings that we're in together, it was always nice to be able to say, there's an elder in the room that's older than me. So now I'm like gonna be the one of the only elders. And so that you know, I'm gonna every time that happens, I'm gonna think about you. And you know, I just want to say, you know, you deserve this. Congratulations. You've been a mentor, a friend, a colleague. We've been through a lot together. I know that we and you have helped make this institution better, and I've been privileged to be part of that journey with you and to learn from you. And I will miss you. And so I had to say something. It took me a while to cry and then stop and then be able to say, and then I'll get off of this and I'll just cry some more, because that's what I do. But good luck to you. Enjoy the things that you haven't had a chance to do, but don't forget us. You're still part of our family forever. You're still part of the Ram family.
Oh my gosh, I will absolutely never forget y'all. I will never forget you. And you're right, Blanche, we've gone through a lot. And there have been so many times when I know we will be in meetings and we look at each other and we both roll our eyes, wondering, is this really happening? And so I will miss that. I will miss all of the conversations we've had. But I'm still around. I will still be in Fort Collins and hope to continue to do different things in the city of Fort Collins. And so, yeah, it has been fabulous. It really has.
And Mary, I want to
thank you for being there.
Mary, I want to share a surprise with you from our very own Tony Frank, who has a message to say thank you. So hopefully that's showing up on your end.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to join in celebrating my friend and colleague, Mary Ontiveros. Diversity, by its very name, acknowledges differences, but used in the broader sense, diversity brings people together by focusing on shared hopes, aspirations, and rights, and how all of us need to work together to attain them. Mary's walk through her life, to me, demonstrates bringing people together. She faced racism and bias over decades at the institution where she trained and which then employed her, but she never lost her commitment to the shared ideals it embodied, even if the flawed human beings who make up that institution might, at any given moment, not have been worthy of that commitment. Before she ever became a VP, Mary had already made CSU a better place through her presence and that quiet yet relentless commitment. I thought that skill set was exactly what we needed in our first chief diversity officer at a time when the role was still modestly controversial and when we didn't even have the funding for a full position, let alone the office that now exists. Mary brought that office to life, and in doing so, helped CSU move forward in its own walk toward being a more just and equitable community. I'm proud to have worked alongside her, proud to call her my friend, and I'm a better human being for having known her. Congratulations on your retirement, Mary, and all the best to you and Billy in the years ahead.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. You know, when I think of the meetings with Tony Frank, I think of walking into his office and seeing his poor plants that needed water. And I remember thinking, Tony, in fact, telling him, Tony, your plants, they need some water. And he would say, really? I didn't even notice. And I said, Tony, how could you not notice those poor plants are dying? And he would say, well, I'm an animal person. And I'd say, oh, that's right, you're a vet. And I said, well, I'm a plant person. And believe me, they need water. So from an animal person and a plant person, I think we had a great relationship. And so that's really nice to hear from him. Thank you.
This is Laura Jensen. I would add, Mary, I love you as a person, and I'm so grateful for everything that you've taught me over the last dozen or so years. You are one of the 4 people that made me believe in Colorado State University, and I'm grateful for that experience. I'm grateful for partnering with you, and I'm grateful for everything that you've taught me. And I'm so excited for you and Billy to have a new chapter and have you be able to slow down a little bit. Congratulations.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you so much.
Mary, this is Mari Strombaum. I was trying to remember, you know, I've been at CSU for well over 30 years. I don't remember when we met. You have just been always a part of CSU for me. And a really positive part of CSU for me. You have taught me through your leadership, through your grace, through your kindness, through your sense of humor. You've challenged me. You've made me into a better person and a better professional. And I love you, and I'm going to miss you. And congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's really hard to follow because I've only been here 15 months. And so I don't have the benefit that Mari has had of years of knowing Mary and being tutored by her. But I can't tell everyone how incredible it has been for me to know Mary in this short period of time that I've been here. It's really extraordinary to have someone like Mary on this campus, and incredibly extraordinary to have her legacy. And I can't close this session for me without talking about her creation and work of pulling everyone together to develop the principles of community, which are everywhere, all over Colorado State University, and which make me so incredibly proud and thankful. So thank you, Mary, for everything you've done for so many years to bring this to Colorado State University. We're an example for the rest of the nation, and that's because of you.
Oh my gosh, Joyce, thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you. You're extraordinary.
Amazing.
You know, I'd just like to build on what Joyce just said about principles of community. So I'm involved at the National League of Cities and with university communities, and I've introduced the principles of community at the National League of Cities, and it's such a foundation, a grounding for values and how we build community. But you know, Mary, your influence goes way beyond Colorado State University, and again, thank you for that.
Wow. You know, the trick is in living up to those principles of community, and that is the challenge that we all face. I mean, we know what they are, and I think they have been embraced, but being able to live up to them is really the challenge that we all strive to achieve.
And Mary, it looks like we have a question from one of our senators, Miles Robinson, who represents the Student Disability Center. He said, if I could ask her,
Okay.
now that her time is done here, how can we follow her example and continue to bring this university into the future?
And I think it's important that people look at the principles of community, that they look at really what we were trying to do and what we do try to do through the Office of the VPD, and that is to create a campus where people do feel that they are welcome, that they are valued, they are affirmed, that we cannot be an excellent institution unless we are inclusive. And inclusion means so many things, and it touches so many different parts of campus. And until it becomes the way we do business and the way we operate and the way we roll, as they say, we will always be lacking in some way. And so everybody can play a part in creating an inclusive space for individuals. And so that, to me, is what is really very, very important. When we talk about diversity, people focus on numbers, and it's not just numbers. It's not just numbers at all. It has to be creating an environment where people feel that they belong, where they truly, truly are valued, and their contributions are affirmed, and that they are worth something at the institution. And inclusion means, to me, making sure that we take into consideration not just the needs of one group or one population, but the needs of everyone. And there's a lot of work to do in that area. There's absolutely a lot of work. And I can tell you, I have grown because of my involvement in work like the Committee on Creating an Inclusive Physical and Virtual Campus. Knowing what the needs are of students with disabilities, for example. It's difficult to know what those needs are unless you walk in their shoes, if you are able to even walk. And until we can actually know what those experiences are in some way, it's going to be difficult to be an inclusive campus, but we have to work towards that. And the same is true of being an anti-racist institution. We need to all question ourselves about what does that mean? What does it mean in my life, and what does it mean in the space that I occupy? And we have to examine what we do every day, every single day, until it becomes just second nature.
Well, Mary, I think speaking on behalf of everyone that's in this room right now, we're inspired by you. We are grateful for you. We're indebted to you. I mean, 45 years of service to this university and fighting, right? Fighting for equity, fighting for justice. Blanche, the situations that you brought up, right? You and Mary were there. And I want to express my gratitude for you and everything that you've done for our university. And the way that you've supported students and the way that you led when you were a student, right, in ASCSU. And on behalf of ASCSU, just like Mayor Wade Troxel said here on the ASCSU side, December 31st from here on out will be known as Mary Ontiveros Day within the Chambers of ASCSU. And we wanted to extend that just as a token of our gratitude and our appreciation for you, Mary, for your permanent legacy that you've had here at CSU.
Thank you so very much. That's amazing. When I read that resolution, I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is incredible. So thank you. Thank you.
And with that, I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Friends, if you want to stick around, we would welcome that. We're going to go into a 5-minute recess before starting the actual Senate session. So if you're curious and you want to stick around, you're welcome to. But Mary, any parting words for the group before we move into the recess?
It's just really difficult to express my gratitude and to explain how humbling this is. And it truly is. I had mentioned in another meeting that when somebody retires, we focus on what our future is going to be. And yet people who think about the retiree focus on the past. And it has given me an opportunity to reflect on what has happened in my career, and it's a good thing. I thought, oh, that's right, I did do that, and I did do that, and I'm proud of those programs that continue to exist. I'm proud of the impact that it has made on students, and I'm proud of the fact that there are students at the institution who might not have been there at all had some of those initiatives not been introduced. And I also know that it could not have been done by one person. It took allies and advocates to make it happen. And so I thank everybody for their role in my success. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And if we could give her just another round of applause, just to extend your gratitude for her and everything that she's done for our university. I mean, with that, Mary,
Thank
I hope,
you.
yeah, and I hope we can be in touch, and we look forward to having you as an alum of ASCSU to come speak anytime. If you ever want to drop back in the chambers and inspire us with some stories, you are always welcome.
I have many stories, believe me. Thank you so much.
All right, well, with that,
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move into recess here. And so if you want, you're welcome to take a break for the senators and associates. We'll be back in just a moment. If you have any questions for me, anyone who's attending right now, you can email me at ascsu_senate_speaker@mail.colostate.edu. Thank you again for joining in. And Mary, thank you again for everything you've done.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Christian.